What's happening, people? Welcome back to the Sean Edward channel. I'm Ron Swanson. It's a new show. It's a new show, right? It's the inaugural episode of throwing it at the wall and see if it'll stick. And I love conspiracies. You love conspiracies, right? But I feel there's Beverly Rhodes. How are you, the wonderful Beverly Rhodes? I'm sure you have much to say on this topic. And we are diving in all week to the secrets of Area 51. All right. Next week, it'll be a new conspiracy, if you will. And the question is, conspiracy or not, right? And it's up to you. So we're going to have to talk a little bit about the history, Roswell, all of that. I think we all kind of know the history of Roswell and all of that. We're going to look at a little bit of what came before Roswell, setting the stage for a very interesting period of American history, the 1940s, when it comes to stuff in the sky. Oh, yes, Beverly, 100%. 100%. I'll fire you a link. But we're going to be jumping in. The main segment today is we're going to be looking at all of the supposed grays on film, interviews that have happened, okay? Allegedly. We're going to be looking at some that you've probably seen, some that you might not have, may never have seen, some that you might find a bit questionable. Others have got some backing. There's some receipts, if you will. Because I think the grays, I love the topic of the grays, right? And I think there's a lot of theories that I love that I don't necessarily believe, right? But I think would make awesome Netflix series, right? And my favorite theory on the grays, not that I believe it, right, is that the grays are the humans from the future and they live underground. That's why they look weird. And we destroyed ourselves with nuclear war and they've come back through time and all that. Brilliant subplot for a movie. Do I believe it's real? No, right, at all. But what a good movie. What is the song called? Okay, right, hang on a second. I'll post it in Discord, or I'll do it at the end, otherwise I'll side quest. Ron needs to make his hair long on the other side so we can. Ron's hair is on the. Yeah, nah. I mean, I can do, but not today. Do you know what's really upsetting? See, when I shaved these parts off, I started hating wearing my hair down because I feel like most of the main effect came from these parts, and I never really thought about it. So when my hair is down, I'm just a bit like, oh well, that looks crap, right? Whereas when it's off to the side, at least you can see, okay, it's shaved. So, you know, there's something going on here. But man, it was, and you know, I tried to grow them back. Last year. I think I went like about 10 months. That kind of 6-7 months. And you've no idea when your hair is like this length and the rest of it's all long, how much of an idiot you look. So yeah. But anyway, Ron's here. I'm also a fan, so thank you. Now, Roswell, spaceships, 1947. Okay, is that right? Yes. Haha, we're learning. Massive story. New Mexico. Let's get a little bit of a history. A little history lesson here. Because this is where it all stems. The Area 51, New Mexico, Roswell, all of that, it stems from this story. And we've interviewed people who have claimed to have knowledge of the craft going down and all the rest. And like I say, this isn't a history lesson. This is we're going to be delving into the topic of the day, which is the interviews with the Greys in just a minute. But it didn't really start with Roswell. Okay, it started in 1942. 1942, right? When in LA, there was an alleged battle over the skies of LA. And these are all photographs, right? Where some serious military hardware from the 1940s, right? Those big, like, big anti-Air Force bad boys were centraling in on this ship in the sky. Now, I'm not saying it was aliens. Do you know what I'm saying? But it's a bit of a mad one. And you realize that, well, maybe there's more to the history of America and stuff in the sky and stuff that crashes than meets the eye, right? Because I think for many of us, that's where we go to. But the Battle of LA is another madness altogether. And the only reason that I'm mentioning it to you wonderful people is just so you guys sort of get the stage set for the fact that this isn't the only time this has happened. And I do believe all of these little white circles that you see here, I'm pretty sure this is anti-aircraft rounds hitting something. I think that's what it is. But it's wild. It's wild. And when we go back to Roswell, there's all kinds of generational tales, lore that's been handed down from father to daughter to whatever, from father to daughter to son, whatever, that tell the story of, confessions on a deathbed, metaphorically speaking. And before we dive into that, the wonderful Beverly Rhodes has arrived to give us some input here. So how are you? New show. So we're delving into, it's not really a history lesson, if you will, because I think a lot of people know the ins and out of the Roswell incident and all of that. But this week we're going to be delving into all the different sort of subcategories of the secrets that seem to be public, alleged public, mythology, nonsense, and reality. And today is interviews with the Greys and all of the supposed footage that's come out over the years, whether it's real, fake, whatever. Some come with some credibility. There's some follow-up stories from apparent ex-military people and all this kind of stuff. Yep. But it's we want to look at it all and answer the question, is it conspiracy or not? Right? Conspiracy or conspirafact, Beverly. And I'm right in saying that when we spoke to Ivan's story goes back to Roswell and the rock, the mineral, the piece of whatever we want to describe it as, the mystical object. Yeah. I mean, his story is incredible. And we're just talking about the generational side of story hand-me-downs from people that were involved, who've passed away, who've told their grandkids or their kids that this or that happened. What's your take on, first of all, the Roswell event, right? The sort of key factor. And do you know about the Battle of LA? That was something else that we touched on.
Yes, don't know anything about the Battle of LA, unfortunately. It's not something that I really looked into, but Roswell, yes.
Yeah. So what's your take on the Roswell incident? I mean, before we touch on anything
Roswell was a craft that did crash. And because we know individuals that had picked up artifacts from the craft, as in Ivan and Clifford Stone, and that piece of the artifact was tested with all sorts of things, and it was known to be an off-worlder, but then just mysteriously was either stolen or disappeared. So neither Clifford Stone before he passed away or Ivan when he picked up a lot of the paperwork and the boxes and all that sort of stuff. It wasn't in anything and anywhere at all. It was given to somebody to look after, and then it miraculously disappeared. So we do know that the craft site was substantial, and there were all sorts of not just artifacts, but also beings that were removed and taken off to various areas, including Area 51. And I will say that most of the first world and second world countries do actually have in their possession various different types of beings, either in cold storage or being kept, in various facilities so that they can study them. So this is not unusual.
And how does that affect things diplomatically across the galaxy? Knowing is it like here we have I give my body over a science thing that we can do as humans passed over. Is that a thing? I mean, is it in that realm of we give ourselves over for science, or is it more we've crash landed and they've grabbed one of us?
I think it's more the exopolitics treaties and the policies and procedures are currently being reviewed and rewritten, because there is actually in place an exopolitics procedure of what would happen if there was open contact, or first contact, so to speak. Open first contact, shall we say. And I think that most of the organizations that I've worked with over the past, particularly in South Africa, because we had a number of, not just sightings, but we had a number of downed craft in SA, South Africa, at the time, which was then, there is an international protocol for downed craft or similar. And they did have to follow those protocols that are agreed and are in place, particularly where there is an assumption that there is some form of organic body or something similar in the vehicle at the time. And there was one that came down when I used to live out there, and they followed it to the T, and it was removed and it was taken away into another country. And I think it was eventually sent to America. So they do have all of these procedures, if you like, standard operating procedures, or known as SOPs. All the SOPs are in place, and every country will follow them quite religiously. They make sure that they dot the I's and cross the T's.
Yeah, imagine they would. I imagine a galactic diplomatic situation would not be in anyone's forte. And like I say, over the years, there have been lots of people who've come forward. I think famously, it was what is the guy's name now? Bob Lazar in 1989. He was one of the first big ones to come out about the truthers. I don't know. I mean, a lot of people get called out over things on the internet and whatnot, but I don't know Bob Lazar's story or in and outs of anything like that. But I know that he was a massive figure in the whistleblowing of Area 51, regardless of where he is now. At that point, he was. And this has been something that has been so heavily tied into Americana, right? I mean, I would love to go and do the cheesy tourist Rosewell experience. You know, the little UFO cafe or bar or whatever it's called, and you're just doing a lot of driving to stand next to a lot of signs. I mean, that seems to be a lot of what you do. And it's fascinating to me because it's such a crucial, massive story that has so many whistleblowers. It's got so many, my granddaddy's stories, or my granddad's stories, or my grandma's stories, or I was a local and we seen this. Then we have people like Ivan, and it just never seems to end, right? Never, ever, ever seems to end. But at the center of it all, in fact, at the center of most UFO mythology, as far as it's been since, I can remember, it went from little green men to little gray men overnight. Okay. And the little gray men kind of dominated everything, whether it was movies, whether it was, YouTube, whether it was real life reports, whether it was all the harrowing abductee stories. It all led back to big, black, oval-eyed, grayed nasties, right?
Soulless ones, the soulless ones, because none of the greys have souls. They're not. They might be slightly organic, but they're manufactured, and they are the beings that have been created as the worker force, if you like. They don't have souls. They are completely soulless.
Yeah, and that's reigned true over when Danny talks about them, when you talk to them about, and then when Azria talks about, when anyone who's ever talked about them within our shows. They always do hit on the fact that these are soulless drones, metaphorically speaking, if you will. Well, figuratively speaking on the souls, probably metaphorically speaking on the drones. And it's wild. Now, just before we go any further, ladies and gentlemen, if you can, new show. Let's help show the Atwood clan that you want to be tuning in. Give me a little like, little share, push it out for us, and big thanks to Beverly for coming to join us, because we are about to watch some stuff, and I know you're going to be quick to react on it, Bev. But what we wanted to do, it's about giving it. We've got to leave it up to the people. Okay, we've got to leave it up to the people, and then on Friday you can drop your conclusion on the whole week, right? Because people, we got to let people make up their minds here, right? I think and we're going to jump in with our first one. This is a strange video, as it says in its title. Here we go. Strange video reveals gray alien interacting with human, 2017. Now, I just want to give everyone a a prefix for everything that we're going to be watching, just so you can get an idea of where we're going tonight. So we have this. We're starting off fairly easy, right? Fairly easy with this video. Then we're jumping into the very famous UFO interview video. Now, I couldn't find it online at all. Nothing suspicious about that. But I found a documentary about it that we're going to be skipping through. And this is the one that comes with, for example, Matthew Cox, UFO whistleblower leaks alien footage. This guy here is confirming that he believes that this interview was leaked from a US government base. And then we're going on to some stuff that I've never seen, which has been popping up quite a lot. Is a 4-part series, if you will, all going around apparently declassified documentation. Now, the beauty of all of this is you guys are going to get to make up your own mind about whether or not you think this is all true, whether it is or it isn't. You can have your say on the Discord. And then, like I say, on Friday, we're going to be coming together with everything you guys have posted. And we'll all sort of give our conclusions, whether it's collectively or on individual parts and all that kind of stuff. Because for me, when there's just, it can't all be fake, right? It just can't. I mean, maybe it is, but it just can't. But maybe it is. I don't know. And this stuff fascinates me. Is that, which page is that? Which one are we talking about? Bottom right. Hang on. Bottom right has don't know. Can't see anything. Don't know, mate. And this all fascinates me. Listen, you might be one of these people that are like, this is all nonsense. You might think, oh, this one in particular is nonsense, or that one. That's okay. It's okay. It's 1:30. It's not even 4:00 in the afternoon. We can all relax. Okay, it's relax time. Get your app. Maybe you come home from the kids, got them picked up from school, half term, whatever. Get a hot drink. We're having some fun here. Okay, it's not about nailing. We're not trying to tell you what to think. This is a good time. We're gonna have a good time. And what we've got coming up this week, like I say, tomorrow, I think we're delving into the guards and all of the weird stuff that's been filmed about the guards that protect Area 51, then all the footage of the tech that's meant to have been leaked. And then we're going to look at other alien life forms that are meant to be on Area 51. And then we're going to collectively come at the end of the week and discuss our analysis and give our final thoughts, if you will. It's going to be fun. So like and share. Be part of it. Okay? Okay, let's watch this.
This video.
Also, if you're watching this back and all of the footage that we're about to play and watch along with is missing, it's because it's been copyright claimed. So in the description, you'll find interview 1, interview 2, interview 3. And one of two things is about to happen. You're either about to see an interview or you're about to very abruptly cut back to us discussing an interview that you haven't seen. Awesome.
Was shared by Oanesa X on Twitter X, showing a tall gray alien interacting with a human. No speaking, but maybe communicating by telepathy if it's real. No further information. In a leaked video that emerged on the internet, an alleged encounter between a man and an extraterrestrial being took place at an undisclosed location within a secret base in the United States.
It's unsettling. I'm not going to lie. This is unsettling. Doesn't matter if it's real or not. It's unsettling.
The encounter reportedly occurred during the nighttime, and due to the video's quality, the specific surroundings remain unidentified. It is believed that this encounter took place in 2017, although no. The video begins with a man standing a short distance away from what appears to be an extraterrestrial being commonly referred to as a gray. Both individuals face each other and maintain eye contact for several moments. The extraterrestrial's physical features resemble typical depictions of grays: a hairless pale grayish skin tone, large dark eyes and a slight frame. The man remains calm throughout the encounter, showing no signs of distress or fear. Their interaction appears to be non-verbal, as no audible communication is captured in the leaked video.
I will prepare you all, though. This is the least. This is the funnest one out of them all. So if at any point, if this is too much for you, what is coming is proper unsettling, right? This, I feel like we're in a zone of comfort where we're like, hey, if this is like a costume or a model, this is amazing, right? Because it looks fantastic, right? But it looks fantastic from a point of view that we have no reference point to know what is real, okay? And let's keep watching.
Despite this, their body language seems engaged and focused, the man and the extraterrestrial being exchange glances, perhaps attempting to convey meaning or understanding to one another. It is worth noting that any interpretation of their interaction remains speculative due to the lack of context provided. After a brief period of visual engagement, the man and the extraterrestrial reach out and firmly shake hands. This momentary physical contact suggests a mutual acknowledgement or agreement between the two parties. The handshake appears formal, devoid of any overt displays of emotion or excitement. Both individuals maintain a composed demeanor throughout the encounter, further adding to the enigmatic nature of the video. It is important to emphasize that the authenticity and veracity of this video.
Interesting if you pick anything up from this guy, Bev. I mean, I don't know if that's how it works or anything like that, but I mean, just we're gonna be quiet. I'm sorry. I keep doing it.
Video remain unverified as no official confirmation or statements have been released by the government or reputable sources. Skepticism should be exercised when evaluating the footage.
The light in
The leaked video serves as a piece of intriguing but unconfirmed evidence in the realm of alleged extraterrestrial encounters. As with any leaked material, its origin and its intentions behind its release by an anonymous source raise additional questions about its credibility. The lack of supporting information or corroboration.
Did you see his fingers? Oh, did you see his big gangly hand?
Adds further complexity to the assessment of this alleged encounter. Without official documentation or reliable sources, it is impossible to draw definitive conclusions regarding the nature and significance of this encounter. Until further evidence emerges or official disclosures are made, this leaked video remains an unverified curiosity within the realm of alleged extraterrestrial encounters. The arm looks a bit digital and off, but we're not very sure because of the scene in the dark. And the rest of the alien's body seems quite realistic. Moreover, studying the hand of the man,
it's kind of freaky, right? But here we go. So I mean, this is what we live in the realm of the AI generation. We live in the realm of social media posts for shock value. So what do we think?
But we can see the shadow his hand is casting onto the EBE's hand. So, what do you think?
I mean, it looked like it was filmed on a potato. It looks like it was filmed on a potato. I'm not going to lie, but it's very convenient for stories like this to be filmed on what looks like a potato. You know, I will say the lighting looks fantastic, right? But if any of you know, do you remember how the Gollum was made in Lord of the Rings, where you have motion capture, and you would be blown away what can be done with motion capture. And basically what that means is you're effectively looking at two people on a screen, and one person is wearing like a skin tight suit with lots of sensors over them, and then the 3D model of that alien, regardless of where that person's facing or what they're doing, the sensors will line up the 3D model with the person who's doing the motion capture. And this is exactly what it would look like. But it could also be real. I don't know. Okay. I'm just saying. But the next bit of footage, the next interview is where things start to get a little crazy. And we're just going to watch a little snippet of UFO whistleblower leaks alien footage and exposes government cover-up. And this is just going to set the stage for this next bit of footage that we're going to watch. There's an alien interview. If we actually turn the volume up, okay, and then put it back to the beginning. Try that.
Film about to be released. This did slip away from a government facility. I know this film is real. I have the military paper that had me assigned to Area 51. We have craft and beans there. I got it all.
I'm not being funny, right? This guy's so excited to tell you government secrets, right? Like, he is so excited to tell you these government secrets. But listen, regardless of that, this is the interview. This is, I'll be honest, this is the real deal for today, right? I mean, there's one more after this, but this one here, this has been around for a long time. And the internet has often questioned its authenticity. But recently, there's been a surge in rediscussion of this interview. And excuse me for having to use a third-party documentary to pull parts of this out, because I couldn't find the actual original file on the internet. And here we go. So this is the original interrogation of a UFO, of a gray, however you want to describe them. And let's watch through this. I'm a little disappointed because there's a lot of music playing over this, and I'm pretty sure in the original footage there was questions being asked. So I'm going to play through this because this is the point where someone comes in. It's like a medical officer comes in during this. Why are we now not playing? Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, you can see. But because this music's playing, I'm a little disappointed. I'm going to put it back. I'm going to turn the music off, and I'm going to let it play in case the music's copyrighted. It ain't worth getting copyrighted over. But we're going to keep watching through this. Bear with me. Here we go. I'll put the music up a little. One of the sites, yeah, if you've seen this before, because I think some of you must have, because I mean, this is not a new bit of footage, and I'm sure I remember this from closer to the MySpace era. You've never seen this? Yeah, okay. Yeah, Lark, see if you can find it, mate, because honestly, I could not find the full interview. And I feel like we watched it on a show not long ago. See what you can find, Lark. Even if you can find me a title on YouTube, I'll go and search for it. See, Johnny, you got follow me up with something. Like, what gives you the fake vibe? Is it the layout? Is it the movement? Is it the shadowiness of it all? Like, expand on your opinion a little bit for me. Only seeing the head. Okay, yeah, I'm with you there. Cheap graphics. I wouldn't say cheap graphics. If this is a hoax, this is definitely a model. It's not like a CGI moment or anything.
You removed the soundtrack from the tape before you turned it over to this program.
That's correct.
Okay, yeah. So
Describe for us what we're seeing.
All right, we're looking at the interview suite at S4. It's kept dark for the comfort of the aliens. The figure who is just barely visible in the left foreground is the telepath, and behind the camera is a raked seating area for observers. Although in this case, I believe the only other person present was a military aide. The alien is seated behind a glass partition in a biocontainment area, which is maintained at biosafety level 2. the lowest designation. That's primarily for the protection of the aliens, not us. The theory is that if they were going to infect us with an alien bug, it would have happened 50 years ago. In fact, all the indications are the aliens eliminated microbial and viral life from their own ecosystem long ago. They aren't susceptible to our diseases directly, but it has been shown that microbes can reproduce and form colonies within their respiratory systems, which tends to exacerbate the debilities they seem to suffer anyway in our environment. In fact, you can see here the alien is beginning to flag. The interview was not going well. The telepath was trying to clarify some points from a previous interview, but he wasn't receiving coherent responses. As you can see, the being is in real distress. At this point, the telepath is sending out a message to the medical staff. He's trying.
Okay, so we've heard the alleged government response or the agent's response. It's kept dark for the aliens' comfort. They've talked about microbial, this, that, and the next thing. So if we give them the benefit of the doubt, that's how this tape would look, right? It would be dark. It would be dimly lit. So, and again, I'm not saying this is real. This is the beauty of it, right? Conspiracy or not, guys. It's all up to you. But some of the
I can only comment on some of these bits, and that is on having been in some of the DUMBs, which is the deep underground military bases. That level of darkness is particularly dark because, yes, many of the beings do come from either subterranean or areas that are darkened, and our type of light does actually affect their sight, and it does affect their skin and affect some aspects. But that, from what I recall seeing firsthand as a witness, that is very dark. And the movement looks a bit strange to me because having seen various other individual beings, they don't have that jerky type movement. So that would make me wonder a bit whether what they might have done possibly is they might have taken actual footage and combined it with a footage of some sort of either robotic being and then put the two together. What the person is saying in the electronically altered voice, everything that he's saying is actually correct. So where he's saying microbials and he's saying about the light and he's saying about the transference, mental transference, and the ability to talk telepathically, yes, that is correct. That is what happens. And pretty much most beings that they have in all the different areas around the world, they all have the ability to speak via their minds telepathically, as do we as beings. We do have that ability. It's just some of those areas in our DNA have been switched off. There are many whose areas in their DNA are switched on or have been activated and allows them to talk telepathically. If you test that with your dog or your cat or an animal, to start reconnecting that DNA with the ability to speak through your mind, test it out on your animals, they will hear you. So that one, to me, from my experience, I think it's a mixture, and I think they've done that purposely. They've mixed factual items through what the gentleman is talking about, as well as small pieces of manufactured so-called evidence.
Okay. Interesting. Right, let's continue on, because I do believe that we're going to get some more commentary on the medical team. So let's see if there's anything else, because it's interesting if we've got whistleblowers with information that's lining up, and then it raises the question of, if the whistleblower is getting everything right and everything he's saying is lining up with the footage, and people are saying the footage is real, we have to then look at what could create a scenario where all of these questionable things, the darkness being too dark, the shaking, what could create that within the realm of conspirafact as opposed to conspiracy, because it's easy to write off. I think it's easier to push ourselves to try and fit this into probability. I think that's more that's more fun. That's the more fun way of doing stuff. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't mean we believe it. Just to be clear, it doesn't mean we believe it. We're just talking nonsense on the internet about conversations about gray aliens that have apparently been recorded and then put on the internet. Okay, life's not all too serious. Let's all relax. We're just people talking on the internet here. Okay, Beverly knows what she's talking about, though. I'm here to have some fun. All right, so I'm not gonna lie. Okay, like I'm not gonna lie. I'm still a lover of all the theories, all the madness, all of the stuff that is just sheer. Because why not? You know, it's great to know the facts. It's great to know the realities of it all, for sure. But man, some of the theories are brilliant. Like I was saying earlier, Bev, the one that I would most like to see turned into a Netflix series is the one that everyone hates, which is the Greys are us hundreds of thousands of years in the future after we wipe ourselves out with nuclear war, and they all live underground now. How good a Netflix show would that be, though? I mean, take out the fact that it's all nonsense. That would be a kick-ass show, Beverly. I mean,
it might be. But I don't think people would fall for it. And this particular type of being, because it's a small grey, it's not one of the tall greys. It doesn't, because it's being lab created. It doesn't need to have a belly button. So you mean that's not necessary, because they're lab created, which is why they don't have souls, and they're workers, and that's all they do. You give them a single go-to requirement, and you preset them up, and that's it, and off they go. They do have the ability to speak telepathically, yes, very definitely, but it's not necessary for them to know too much or even more. They just get given their particular orders or what they need to do and what they need to achieve, and that's pretty much all they do. They're like worker bees. That's all they are.
And don't forget, the center of this show, the foundation of this show, is wild speculation. Okay, this is the beauty of it. People in the side chat, don't worry. I'm not saying I think the Greys are us from the future. I'm saying it would make a kick-ass Netflix show. That's all I'm saying. All right. And no way do I believe that, because I'm not talking about a documentary. I'm talking about a fictional show on Netflix. It'd be awesome. I don't care what you say. V. We need to remake V again. It was awesome, and then they kind of ruined it with remake. We just need that remade. And again, this footage has been out for years, and it's fascinating getting your input on it. So I want to watch a little bit more. So let's continue.
With the alien, but he's
also, a lot of naked aliens. I often wondered about that, but I mean, they're worker drones with no bits and no shame.
Well, worker drones is nothing. No, it doesn't really matter. You know, you might as well put a sack of potatoes with some legs on it, because it won't need any clothes. Right. It's only those with souls that need clothes.
Well, it's not even that. It's even just from a business point of view, right? If you're making these clones, right, keeping costs down, Beverly, it's better to give them no nipples and no bits than clothing, right? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, just from a business plan point of view, that isn't a more cost-effective worker drone.
It's getting no response.
I'm not going to lie. I remember seeing this as a young teen, and it gave me nightmares. It starts convulsing.
There's very little he can do. There's no direct connection between his space and the biocontainment area. That's the aide stepping in on the right. The medical staff should be there.
If you're concerned for the alien's life at this point, this is when you turn a light on and everyone comes running in, right? I mean, that would make more sense in my human brain, right?
Now they're slow in responding. There they are. I have to say, the medical personnel at S4 are less than first rate. They tend to be selected for their willingness to keep secrets rather than their medical competence.
Yeah, fair enough. That would make sense.
By the way, he's not shining that light into the eyes. It looks that way, but in fact, he's checking for hemorrhaging around the eye sockets and in the nasal cavity.
This is what I would imagine it would look like. Like if you had an alien life form that was having a freaking seizure, right? This is what I think it would look like. I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
I'm sorry. It's very hard for me to watch this.
You're asking? Who is this guy? Who is this guy? Let's find out what he has to say. He slapped those tapes with purpose, Beverly. Don't tell me you're not intrigued. I'm intrigued.
If I think this is real, that have I finally seen a space alien?
I'm just going to say, if you've got an opinion on space aliens, the first thing I'm going to say is microphone, right? Don't just set up the VCR recorder with the built-in microphone. It ain't. No, it's not. It's.
I don't know.
Who cares? Who even are you? Right. We're going to skip forward a little bit more, and then we've got some analyzing stuff here.
And we're outputting it now in digital format, and you can see that we have an absolutely solid picture. What we've done is taken the picture and moved it over so that we can look at the information that's in between the frames. Now,
hang on, I feel like we've missed a bit of important build up to this. Hang on, here we go.
Evaluating the authenticity of the alien interview tape, the logical place to begin is with the videotape itself. What can the technical details of this recording tell us about its origin?
Before we find that out, can you like and share? I'll keep interrupting. Like and share for me to stop interrupting. How about that? Let's go.
Rocket Pictures sent Victor's original tape to the Phoenix laboratory of renowned image analyst Jim Delatoso. Using the most up-to-date digital technology, Delatoso tried to determine the tape's authenticity.
I've been exploring, looking at different aspects of the image itself to develop questions for a matrix on, is it real or is it fake? I grabbed a frame in the computer and we're outputting
itself. Delatoso tried to determine the tape's authenticity.
I've been exploring, looking at different aspects of the...
Is that a laptop? How old is this footage? How old is this footage? Look at the size of it. Look at the size of it.
The image itself to develop questions for a matrix on, is it real or is it fake? I grabbed a frame in the computer and we're outputting it now in digital format, and you can see that we have an absolutely solid picture. What we've done is taken the picture and moved it over so that we can look at the information that's in between the frames. Now, when we look at the motion video, we can see that it still is not bad. And when we have this little indicator down here, it tells me that the original image was transferred using some kind of time-based corrector. These are video screens up here, television, video monitors, and they're off at an angle. If this was shot using a video camera with lines on it, we would see moire patterns up there, and we don't see the moire patterns. So there's a probability that this was shot originally on film, possibly a film stock like 7252 or 7247, depending on the lighting.
The idea that these images may have originated on film is in direct contradiction to Victor's statement that the...
Ooh, nerds arguing amongst nerds. All right, Bev, what do you think so far? I mean, again, was there anything that was said by any of the specialists there? I don't think there really was, right? It was just that nerd talking about the footage, right? And I think maybe we're about to hear...
I think the main question is to look at it to see, especially I'm happy when he said based on experience, but I think the main question is to answer is whether this is early stages animatronics in order to be able to already know is areas at one and other, Groom Lake and other areas around the world, or whether it's an actual being, a soulless one at best. So there is some. It's just basically an organic type of being. When I'm looking at it, in all fairness, I don't see energy patterns. I don't see. When I saw this a few years ago, I didn't actually see any energy patterns with it at all. I think my I came up.
Can I ask, is Beverly breaking up for everyone else, or is it just me?
I don't know. I'm not breaking up on my side, so it might be that someone doesn't want you to say.
Yeah, she is breaking up. Okay, that's fine. So, Bev, can you do the whole? Can you leave and come back in? Try that, because that usually fixes it. Just drop out and then come back in again, and then that should fix it. Because, yeah, that's fine. Everybody, don't worry. Okay, so up to this point, everyone, we've seen the TikTok footage of the gray alien shaking the hands with a guy. We've seen the audioless footage of the supposed real alien counter video that has been around since laptops looked like small cars. We're going to continue on with this, and then there is the ever wonderful, my fiance, the wonderful Danielle. How are you? I love you. Hope you're having a good day. Drive safely, my G. Drive safely. Right. What do you think? Because I want to believe, right? Oh, talk about the fish. Okay, so listen, right? Dan is obsessed with the wolf, the anglerfish, right? That swam up to the top. I mean, she was almost in tears the other night. Okay. Sorry, Bev, you left for 2 minutes and have side quest talking about a big fish. So you just need to get involved, right? So you know the anglerfish, Bev, that's been in the news that swam up from like 2,000 meters, and the whole internet's been like, oh, she just wanted to see the daylight for once in her life and all this. Do you know how big that fish is?
Probably about so big.
How do you know that? Like, I thought they were massive, right? I thought they were massive, right? And then Dan's
they're
like,
they're not.
Dan's
they're
like, it's about 6 inches long, and I'm like, nah. And then she's like, that makes it even sadder because she had so much further to swim. And it was just when Dan starts making something into a sad story, you live every emotion that this fish went through. And so the big angler fish is actually a tiny little fish, and wanted to see. I mean, it probably had some fish mental health thing where it thought down was up and just away it went. But who knows? Dan has romanticized, and the internet has romanticized, and I'm fully on board. So big fish is actually tiny fish. Finding Nemo lied. That's the point.
And hi to Danny. Nice to see Danny here.
And tiny light bulb. Yes, tiny light bulb. Yeah, 100%. But they look adorable. Like, I thought they were massive, scary things, but they are actually pretty adorable. Okay, so we're gonna jump back into this and just carry on with to see what faded out whistleblower number 1 has to say about all of this. Please like, please share. Let's continue.
The interview was shot on video. On closer inspection, Delatoso decided the images could indeed have been recorded by a video camera under certain specific conditions.
In this case,
once the producer, the specific conditions was the producer of this documentary said to him, that doesn't line up with our story. Can you make it fit? Here's a check, allegedly.
Case, I get the sense of it that this was originally created using either film, transferred telecine to beta, and then this is the 3rd generation, or it was taped under very low light conditions with the video gain boosted probably 12 dB.
Even the emotionless analysis of a computer cannot provide a definitive answer. Delatoso's efforts yield tantalizing hints, but in the end, they only increase the mystery.
All right. So, what whistleblower A was saying could be real. The narrative does fit. It could have been on a tape, regardless. And here's keeping in mind as well. Here's an interesting one. The whistleblower that whistle blew, right? How do we know that this isn't a fake alien psyop by the American government put out years ago to test reaction with a plausible plot? Because I can see that happening as well, right? I mean, I really can.
Yep.
Now there's some really interesting looking characters in this documentary, right? We're going to hear from another one.
I would say it's a pretty decent puppet. Well, to be honest with you, I would love to buy
Hollywood makeup artist now. So this is looking at it from the puppet and robotics side. Let's check it out.
this being real, but it's probably a hoax. Well, I think this is a really cool design, and it's a great concept, but I think I could have done better. Whoever did this, I mean, they could have a job in Hollywood in a minute, no problem. This one has a much creepier quality than the alien autopsy tape, I think.
You cannot compare this to the alien autopsy tape. I mean, we all know the movie that came out about that. Apparently, the big, how it was all staged as a hoax. There's no comparison. Okay, there really isn't.
That one I definitely didn't buy just because of the way it laid on the table. There was a couple of things. This actually, whoever did this or if someone did this, they were very clever because it hides a lot of stuff. So that's what makes me kind of disbelieve it a little bit. But who knows?
Rosewell thought the alien exhibited movements that would be difficult to fake.
There are moments when this looks very real, and I don't know how they did certain little things about this.
See, that's what makes it more unsettling, right? No one's given us definitive answers. We're looking from Hollywood, special effects point of view. It's just fascinating, man.
I'm just saying, what if?
Okay.
What if?
Yeah.
You take and you start. I mean, I don't know anything about filming, but I know what I've seen. And if you take a video taken of a real entity and you splice that into, as this man is saying, a really good puppet or animatronics or robotics, whatever, and splice the two, you'd need to take it frame by frame and then analyze, is that one the real thing? And then is that one the robotics? And that, I think, is part of what they were doing in sort of 1995 onwards. They had some actual footage, and then in order to give it a story and recreate it and allow it to fall into the hands of whistleblowers, to allow it to be externally broadcast or alternatively left on a bus somewhere mysteriously, they had to create a situation that would be possible.
Right. I'm with you. And do you think then, with this splicing or this mix of reality and robotics, freely speaking, do you think that was them just dipping their toe and testing the water, public reaction, all part of the big...
Yeah, I think that there are many psyops where they test and run, and they have a look to see, well, what are the general consensus of the sheeple, because that's pretty much what they call the run-of-the-mill folks. They call us all sheep. Let's see what the sheeple, how will they react to this? What is the general consensus going to be? Let's put something out. Let's see how everybody reacts. Yeah. And if there's mass panic, then we know where we are. But if there isn't mass panic, then even better, we know exactly where we are and what we can run with.
Yeah. Okay, listen, give me some likes, give me some shares, and give me a 1 in the side chat if you want to see CERN week 1 week. It won't be next week because CERN week's going to take some, going to actually have to do some homework and get some stuff lined up, because it's a hunky boy, the CERN topic. And this is just the CERN that's currently built. They're building one that goes through 3 different countries, man. It is scary, right? We'll even do the Mandela effects. We'll throw that in because that's a big thing that people think is linked with CERN and all of that. But yeah, give us a 1 if you'd like to see that. So we've had the videography input, unconfirmed, but can produce a theory that confirms the whistleblower's theory. We've had the Hollywood special effects artist who says if it is a puppet, it looks great, but the movements and various motions and things that have taken place for him do not seem to fit the puppet theory. So let's continue.
So right when I would say that it's definitely a puppet, he moves a certain way, or he'll lift up in the frame,
or she. All right, we're making assumptions
and all that, and all these little things are important to the
Well, I mean, it's a drone, right? Do they have boys and girls bath? It would just be like asexual gray thing, right? Yeah, okay.
No, they don't.
Right, I don't know who this guy is, right? Oh, he's doing the mystical hand. Oh, look, he's doing a mystical hand movement. Right, hang on, here we go. Hollywood makeup artist.
This doesn't fool me. I don't buy this. I think this is a puppet, and you've got a table in the foreground that's hiding the rest of its body. You've got some kind of whatever that instrument is in the foreground. It's also lit very mysteriously. I think if you were going to record this alien, you would want to see it, and you wouldn't want to hide it behind a table, and you would.
Well, here's the thing, right? That makes sense if you're filming a video to prove that an alien exists, or you're secretly filming something to release it. If we're led to believe this is a government-sanctioned or secret government-sanctioned interview or interrogation with an alien, it would be set up for that reason, if you see what I mean. So I almost feel like how all the things that prove this, that people make, all the reasons that people have for this being fake are some of the reasons that bolster me thinking that it could be real. And that, you know what? That's the fascinating thing and the gloriousness of a show where we ask, is it conspiracy or not? Okay. Because
I will say that every time there's been a crash retrieval, or every time there's been a particular, discussion where they've had to take a telepath and someone odd like me to go and talk to these beings, they just roll the camera. This is what makes me think it's too staged. Having been in these environments in South Africa before, where there has been something similar happening, they just run the camera. They have more than one camera. They have 2 or 3 military camera people filming from different angles, and they don't leave the camera. This is what makes me worried, is they just left the camera in one particular position, and rightly so, he's behind the table. They wouldn't really bother with that. They'd have multiple cameras from multiple areas, and they would just be filming whatever's happening. And when you start looking at that film footage after the effect, it's quite poorly taken, but it is all over, and you have multiple angles, because they're taking it for prosperity and evidence. They're not taking it to be released, and that's what worries me here. It looks like it's staged. If it was just an discussion point, you wouldn't have as much as what we see here, and there certainly wouldn't be a table in the way, because most of those rooms that these beings are kept in, they don't have a lot of furniture. They're kept as comfortable as they can at the right temperature with the right lighting. There might be an area, if the being has to sleep, there would be an area for them to sleep in. I've never seen one in all my time. I'm going into DUMS, deep underground bases, right down to level 6 or 7. I've never seen one that's had a table in it.
Okay, well, there you go. Another interesting fact. Now, here, how about this, right? We're going to move on from this interview, and we're going to go to another one. Now, I just want to prefix this with, yes, what you're about to see might look a little bit like somebody has generated this, okay? But I want you to imagine if you could put stuff out in a way, maybe you've got a manuscript of a conversation, maybe there's a bit of footage or whatever, but there's a 4-part alien interview that is very interesting, okay? And it's just another one of these things on the internet that we're going to watch together and ask conspiracy or not, okay? And I believe what we're about to see here is a mixture of real events or transcripts from Project Blue Book's operations that have then been put on screen, whether you believe it's real or whether you believe it's been manufactured, to line up with what is being said in these transcripts, okay? And apparently, this has been going on for 8 years on this channel, and later this year, there's a documentary being dropped all about the 4 clips that we're seeing here, Project Blue Book, and all of this. So let's have a little watch, because I think even when it comes to things that you will probably say, hey, that looks very much generated compared to the last one. But there's a little bit more to it when you wonder, what was the inspiration, who done the scripting, and what was the driving force behind it? So let's take a look and see what we can get from this one.
Okay, we're recording. State point of origin. Okay, yesterday you told us you traveled, and I booked thousands of light years to get here. Tell us the truth, or the word, or another way.
It's actual nightmare fuel, though.
So I take it aliens took over our future, right? So we're human.
No, I don't think so, Dominion. The page that it's from, right? I'm pretty sure he's putting this together for a documentary he's bringing out. But it's another one of these cases. The only reason we're talking about it is because it's one of these things that the internet went bananas for a while. And I just want to mention it. We're not going to watch through all 4 parts, obviously, but I just wanted to mention it.
Okay, so you evolved from us. So what are you doing here now?
Is this where the mad propaganda theory that they came from the future came from? Is this where this came from? And he's I'm so here for it if he brings out a movie about this, right? I just want to say, because if Danny Henderson finds out that I've said that about the future aliens, he's going to kick my ass. I don't think that, Danny. It would just be a good movie.
How? Okay, so how about we concentrate on your time? Try me.
Now, listen. I believe that the Greys could know the hidden knowledge of the universe. Sure, right? So they may have picked it up somewhere, but I just don't buy that they are us. They are from the future. It's a great movie. It's a great movie, but I don't buy it as fact, and I think this whole narrative that this because I've not watched any of this, I've just heard about it. The way this is going to go is going to paste that sort of paint that narrative. And I'll be honest, the next 4 parts of this, it gets kind of intense. Like they up their game a little bit. But Beverly, tell us what your take is on this, because I imagine that you've got something to say on this.
Well, this is quite an interesting one. It's not a grey, by the way. The energetic signature of that, whatever it is not a grey. We do know that certain different planets have got different signatures, and every biosphere, which is part of a planet, and the technosphere in a planet also governs what the beings would look like on a particular planet. And when we start realizing that there are 10 million billion planets out there, there is a chance or an opportunity that there would be other types of life elsewhere that would have advanced technologically to be able to either use wormholes or jump, to be able to get to here through various stargates or wormholes. So yes, that would be fine. I would look at rather, we do know that most beings in other planets have numerous areas for what we would call knees, or shall we say a stick for the legs, with number of different areas where there are hinge-like activities, whether there's one knee or hinge or many knees and hinges. It's all different types. I can only see 2 sets of hinges, which is the elbows on this being. I can't see the bottom. So I don't know whether this would even be one of them from the future.
Yeah. Because I'll be honest, there's a big difference between this face, right, and this face, if that makes sense. And when you're talking about how many planets there are and all the rest of it, I'm sure there's going to be races that have similarities. Anyway, I'm sure there's some very angry races that the Greys look awfully like them, and they're like, "Hey, we're the dark Greys, okay? We ain't those light Greys that smell like farts, okay? We're." Do you know what I'm saying? I'm sure there is. I would love to see the political marches going on planets for redefining the gray and these creatures. Do you know what I'm saying?
But I mean,
That's
this one is showing a large cranium area, which we do know a lot of the alien races or off-world races have got liquid brains that don't actually have brains that are even remotely resemble humans. So that would make me question, because you've got a large cranium area. And also when you look at the olfactory system, so the nose and those areas, that is almost undetectable. And then you have the eyes, which are wide set, which means that it would be predatory. There's a lot that you can tell from this particular image. But you know, you don't look at things like detectable colofractal or colofloral carbons. You don't look at what signature would be produced within an energetic being like that. I personally don't believe that that is a being, human or otherwise, from the future, because we know that evolution does continue to work no matter what planet it's on. And if this is meant to be one of our beings that we've sent to Mars, or we've sent to any of the other colonies that we have, it's unlikely, just looking at that particular structure, and we take it as model it on beings we're sending to Mars, it is highly unlikely we would like that as a being from the future.
I bet you a tenner, if we ran this thing's DNA, I bet you a tenner it comes back as a distant relative to Elon Musk. All right, I'm just saying. Okay, I'm just saying, you know, as soon as he can get into space, he's making some Martian. You know, Elon's making the first Martian in history, right? You know he's going to. Okay. Also, Beverly, I have a theory.
I'm sure he is. But then he's going to have to, you know, seeding life in each habitat, which you'd have to do with Mars anyway. You'd have to utilize first the extremophiles on the planet anyway, which is all those little wee creatures, these bug-type things. You know, those are the way where you kind of start. And it's, you know, it's a complex to create a biosphere. It happens naturally, and you have to create the biosphere from the ground up. But then there's all sorts of other things, you know, particularly the biosphere that is tied to a particular planet, and that will define what is created on that planet, which is why when you start perceiving these things, you can see that that biosphere has created a being that looks like that.
No, I'm with you.
I'm
with you, right? But here's the thing. I think all of this with Elon Musk is because he's got about 13 or 14 kids, right? And I think he's going to pass a bill that says you're only eligible for paying maintenance to children that are on the same planet as you, right? And then I think he's just done the math that it's cheaper to build a rocket and start over on Mars than do 18 years of 14 different lots of child alimony, right? So I'm just saying, if that pops up in some crazy bill that gets passed, you'll know Ron was right, okay? Okay.
Yeah. But there's lots of non-intelligent life out there anyway. You know, there's also a lot of extinct civilizations where there's a cycle in a biosphere where eventually that biosphere degrades and becomes an extinct civilization. I mean, we've seen that how many times? 5 times here on Earth anyway. So I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, it's you know, the seeding life in space habitats. You know, we stand more of an opportunity if there was a space habitat for humans that are sent up into Mars or otherwise. It's you know, the agent-based modeling that you would do to track, you know, like a formation of a stable hierarchy for the new humans that go to Mars. That is more probable than having a supposed being that looks in that particular way.
Get the light speed out, aliens, off-worlders, please. Get the light speed out and the wormhole technology. In fact, can we just start teleporting on holiday? Like, can we just get rid of the planes and that, off-worlders? Like, can we just turn up at Gatwick and go, oh, where are you going today? Oh, I'm going to New York. Oh, enjoy your teleportation. Womp, womp. And I'm in New York. Can we have that, please? That would be awesome, right? That would be, I mean, completely, it would be terrible when it gets abused. Like, could you imagine when, like nasty terror groups get a hold of that? And they just come storming into a building. Okay, I'm seeing loopholes in the technology already, but I'm sure the off-worlders will give us some. They'll train us, right? You give us that, man. Give us that. We don't need the light speed yet. We'll keep our asses on here, but Let me do my Christmas shopping in New York one time, okay? And then get back for dinner the same day. Just one time. One time. Okay, let's continue watching this a little bit.
Wait, so you know the meaning of voice? What's the difference?
Right, I'm not going to lie, right? The thought of watching this for another 3 minutes is agonizing to my ears. So we're just going to kind of fire through this a little bit. Universe is created, right? Yeah, brilliant. We exist in the universe, but that does not support. We exist in a universe that does not support. Okay, let's see what you're saying. Okay, great. Well, why live there? I mean, I get that. That's probably why you're here, Mr. Alien, but...
Okay, so why do we destroy ourselves with nuclear war?
This is the one. Oh, Danny Henderson's going to be so mad. I do not think this is real, Danny. I'm sorry that I'm showing the propaganda. I'm sorry I'm being part of the problem and not the solution, Danny. I'm so sorry, Danny's going to be so mad. Like, you have no idea the triggering that I did accidentally with Danny Henderson. Having a chat to her before a show one time, she's like, this propaganda that the Greys are from the future, and that I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry.
How do you speak? Or it's wild. Are you scared of him? Because you should be.
Why does he look like he's on some like late World War II metal mattress makeshift like electricity machine? Do you know what I'm saying? So listen, all I'm going to say is this goes on, okay? This goes on, and it goes on. There's 4 parts of it. They all have pretexts with Project Blue Book stuff. I encourage you all to go and watch it yourself, right? And make your own mind up. I personally think that if there's any realness to this, right? If there's any realness to what we're seeing on screen, it's come from a transcript that's being rehashed, if you will. But I can't give it any kind of credibility. I'm not saying that there's not an alien race out there that's convinced that they're us and they've come back and done all this. I'm not saying that. I mean, I imagine there's a lot of aliens that are maybe a bit quirky, right? Maybe a bit of a character. You know what I'm saying? We have people that are a bit loopy here. Okay, I imagine out of all the billions and billions of aliens, every now and again you're going to get one mental one that's like, right, I'm going to go back to Earth and I'm going to tell them that I'm them from the future just to get all over the internet. I'm just saying, there's going to be one. There has to be, right? The physics, like the maths have got to go that way. So for me, again, I'm not putting too much stock into this. Time to meet God. Okay. So I believe for me, this is the one here, right? This is the one here for me that has always stayed with me. But I think I've got a draw to it because of that nostalgia, because of that moment years and years ago, whether it was MySpace or Bebo or something, where I remember being totally triggered by this in my young years, and it was the shaking part and the people coming in, and it stayed with me. So has that given me some nostalgic draw to it? Very likely. Now, on the subject of aliens and greys and things that have happened in recent history, before we get back to our Area 51, there's been some things in recent history, Beverly, like the LA shopping center shenanigans that took place, right? Mm-hmm. There was a lot of people who said they saw some stuff. There was a lot of very interesting police responses, helicopter footage, all of that. Now, I know it's nothing to do necessarily with the Greys, but it for me, it feels like as close to a Rosewell incident in my lifetime as there's ever been. Because when you see loads and loads of people that have no need to come to the internet to tell a story, freaking out, and they're telling a story, and then subsequently all their social medias get deleted and the story is completely quashed, I have some questions. So now that our wonderful audience has gone through a slightly theatrical or questionable little video journey, hit us with your opinion on something that I think is widely given credibility as a true event with some sort of interdimensional or off-world being. Is that a more credible
It is.
one? Now, if you would like LA Shopping Market Alien Week, put a one in the side chat. Ron's taking notes. But Beverly, give us the sales pitch, and that was not an intentional segue. What's give us the sales pitch?
I think that there is the interdimensional aspect is probably easier because the traveling between dimensions has become easier as the Earth changes and the dimensional changes have moved forward, and also because we're in an awakening and moving up into a different from 3D into a different area, it does become easier. And also filming that with our technology now also becomes a lot easier to be able to film the difference between the two areas extremely easily.
Yeah.
So you've got the Miami Mall here. You've got those two areas, and people are able to jump as well a lot faster and easier. And you can get it on camera really, really well. When you see it on camera, though, I must admit it's not that exciting. It just looks like somebody was there, and oh dear, look, there they are. They're on the other side now. Whoops.
Yeah.
And unless you look at the burnt-in time code, at the bottom where you have the time code where it tells you by seconds it's running, unless you see actually that was literally seconds that person went from there to there, which is rather a large jump. Unless you look at the burnt-in time code, you're not going to realize that took seconds for that person or that being to get from there to there. So that's probably a lot easier to explain.
Well, look forward to Miami Mall Alien Week, which will definitely be coming, and we'll also be doing the CERN week. But before we wind down on this one, right? The Greys as a whole, we've heard the Roswell theories, we've heard people's obsession with Area 51. It will forever be this icon of mystery. Why don't you hit us with your knowledge that you can talk about? Let's talk a little bit about what I would consider the closest thing to the facts that you'll be able to get anywhere. And I think a lot of you will agree when it comes to Beverly and our team and all of that. Want to reiterate one more time, Danny, I was saying it would be a good movie. I don't believe the theory. Okay. Just to be clear, just so I've got multiple times in here that you can, just in case Danny asks. So if people were to say to you, Beverly, what's the truth with the aliens, Roswell, and the Greys? Just specifically the Greys. What would be the reality you can talk about?
The reality is that the smaller Greys are the workers. They are non-organic. They are created purely to work. That's all they do, is they just created to work, to gather samples, or alternatively be utilized, and they're totally combustible, and they can at some point, if they're not needed, they can be changed into either combustible material, or you can compost them, this sort of thing. They're not anything that you would say has a soul. They are definitely, and they're also pre-programmable. They, if you try and have a conversation with them, if that's not part of their program, all you're going to get is a standard response. You're not going to get anything major back from them, because that's all they were created for. They were just created to be helpers and workers. That's it, nothing else.
So the chances then of, say, the Roswell pilot, for example, being a Grey would be fairly unlikely then, I would imagine, right? It would be more...
It could be highly likely, because it would have been one of those that you have on the screen at the moment that was pre-programmed to fly aircraft. That's it.
Okay, I got you. Okay, yeah.
It's not and wouldn't be the liquid brain type, because the liquid brain type or that then would be an organic type being that then melds with a craft.
I got you.
Whereas the Grey doesn't need to meld with a craft.
Somebody earlier had said you've heard that they'd heard the Greys being referred to as drones. They felt like that meant that they were more mechanical. The term drone, obviously in modern terms, people think of the electronics and the drones, but think of it more like bees, right? Because you have the worker bee, if you will. Imagine it more like that, created to do the tasks.
Yeah, to
Yeah,
work. That's it.
yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, like a worker bee only lives for 8 weeks as a beekeeper. You know, you've got 8 weeks, and they have a cycle. They start with their wet wings,
Yeah.
and they have 2 days where they work, you know, doing stuff inside the hive, and then eventually they go out and they do their job, and then they come back. And the last job that they do as a worker bee is they remove those bees that have expired out of the hive, and they become what they call mortuary bees. And really, the greys are exactly the same. They have a shelf life. They don't have a very long shelf life, and they are biodegradable, and they go back into the system, and you know, they just end up coming out the other side because they're purely manufactured. They're like a dolly. Same thing. The only difference is that you can program them with a course of actions to do, irrespective of whether that's, you know, flying a drone craft or something else. That's all you program them with.
Do we know who their maker is?
There's particular species that are their makers, but also I will say that because that has been reverse technology, there are some earth leaderships, shall we say, that have the technology to create these particular small greys, and they utilize them in different types of operations to collect human beings and give them a false experience of being abducted or taken, etc. So you're getting a lot of them utilizing them for their own nefarious purposes, but also to implant various tracker devices in key families and bloodlines.
Are we witnessing the misuse of an alien gifted technology? Is this what is meant? Was this a gift to us? Is this who is meant to be building our houses, laying our wires, all of this? Was this a workforce that was gifted to Earthlings that has been misused?
I don't think it was gifted. I think it was an agreed exchange of both technology and beings, because at one point the Earth alliances and individuals that were running different countries did agree with specific off-worlders that they would allow some of our peoples to be taken, and they have a certain number that is allowed to be taken off the Earth planet to be utilized in whatever capacity necessary. That's what the wording basically says. And this particular type of being, they managed to figure out when they had 1 or 2 specimens. I think that our scientists on this side were able to figure out exactly how to create these. So they're not the friendliest, and they don't have a lot of brain power either. So
interesting. Right, a couple of questions before we wrap it up. This one for you, Bev. I have no idea who Stan Romanek. Was Stan Romanek telling the truth? I don't know if you know who Stan Romanek is.
I think partially. I think some of you got to look at the bottom line for Stan Romanek. You've got to look at where he was coming from, and also look at the time period. What was happening at the time, and what was the known narrative or the expected narrative? That would be my comment on that. Yeah, where you've got individuals like Lauren saying they are the abductors. Yes, in some cases, yes, they are the abductors, but there are abductors. Oh, there's Bob. Haha. Okay. Yeah. So you've got them as abductors because, you know, that is part of the plan, is to be able to get individuals to have that fear factor, because, you know, they like to keep us at a certain level of fear.
Yeah.
And people do now, when they see them, there is a level of fear. So that is working, if you like.
Yeah, and listen, just so you know, all the theories, everything you guys believe, we ain't saying you're wrong. This is not an echo chamber. You're allowed to believe what you guys want to believe. Put your theories up. I love the open discussion. I love talking about what could be and what couldn't be. And I think it's interesting to hear from Bev as well, because she's got a much more clear-cut perspective on a lot of these things, as well as Danny, Azria, and all of the wonderfully gifted members of the community that we know about. But
I noticed people saying about Bob Lazar. When I was in South Africa, Bob very kindly came out to South Africa, and a lot of a very small group actually met with him to talk through things that we know and that we've seen. Because it was a group of people that had gone into some of the dumps, the deep underground military bases, and seen all sorts of things including having individuals come and stay with us, and then a craft coming to pick them up in Zinkwazi Beach. And a lot of what he was saying, he knew at the time that he would be set up. He knew at the time that he would be totally discredited over a period of many years, and that people would eventually decide that he was a bit of a kook. So, we've got to start realizing that some individuals do come forward, like Bob. They say what they need to say, but then unfortunately they pay with their reputation, and they pay for years and years to come as being a kook or somebody that's a bit woo-woo and can't be believed. But that is all part of the game that these people are at. Yeah. They all try to discredit people that are talking quite, quite eloquently and openly of what they have seen and what they've done.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I mean, 100%. And I just want to remind everyone, we'll have some epic individuals coming on and giving their points of view on things. I would love to see if we can get any of the ex-military guys to come and talk at some point about the technologies and all the rest of it. But we've all got to keep in mind, this isn't 7 o'clock in the evening. This isn't 10 o'clock. This isn't the prime time. This is speculation running wild. We're having some fun. We're looking at theories. We're jumping into the what could and what couldn't be. It's up to you guys to decide what it is and what it isn't that you believe in. You can tell us that we're talking nonsense and it's all mystical fish people and we're flying on the back of a massive turtle all the way through Gaia's mental projection of the universe. And that is the beauty of it all. And we're going to be looking at it all week. Now, tomorrow, right? You little rascals. And I should have had this ready, so I'm just going to have to...
But also tomorrow night we've got an Indian Zuni tribe, very, very special lady called Jordan coming to join us to talk about the Alawan, which is the correct name for Bigfoot, by the way. So we're talking about the Alawan and all of the integrations with the Alawan, the Bigfoot, and the Zuni tribe, and she's going to be able to talk through some amazing stuff. Really, never been seen before. Also, never been interviewed before, never agreed to an interview. This is the first time ever, so it's an exclusive.
Yep. All the links for the rest of the shows will be up about half an hour after the show ends. Yeah. So you'll all get links. You'll all not be left in the dark. Now, tomorrow, which is the 18th, tomorrow we're continuing on with our Area 51 series, and we're delving in to all of the conspiracies that surround the military force, the paid alleged human staff. Whoa! Alleged? Say what?
I also wanted to say about the Atacama skeleton that was studied by Gary Nolan, where there was pieces of multiple human DNA and entities found within that. That's correct, because when I worked on the case, I came up with exactly the same thing. So that is just in answer to Billy Joe.
Did I freeze, or was I talking over you?
I didn't do it. It wasn't me. I didn't touch anything.
Yeah, that's fine. Because I came back and you were like in the middle of saying something. I was like, oh my God, did Beverly just freeze? And then I just started ranting over the top of her. And then I've disappeared and then came back.
You disappeared. You disappeared. So I just quickly jumped in and answered one of the questions.
That's right. I appreciate that. So yeah,
nice to see everybody here. It was really great. Good luck with the show tomorrow, and I'll check everybody out tomorrow. Bye from me.
Awesome. See you soon, Bev. So yeah, tomorrow we're delving into all the YouTuber footage, all of the weird stuff that people have filmed surrounding the guards, the staff, the alleged human beings that are employed by Area 51. And I just want to say before we go, make sure you guys, if you're on the Discord community, I'll make a little room. Oh, thank you very much. If you'd like to support any of my shows, there's a link down in the description. It avoids YouTube taking like 40% of your money. And the spring, we have got all the paranormal equipment. We're going to be doing some epic lives, all right? And I cannot wait to get back out and go something. I'm going with Beverly when I'm down doing the big meet up with Danny and her crew. Beverly set up a couple of pretty intense haunted locations, and it's going to be awesome. But beforehand, we're going to go back to Greyfriars Kirk, and there's a couple other graveyards that I want to go to in Edinburgh and see if we can poke the metaphorical bear. Hang on a second. Ron, you're talking our language, Ron. Our discussions are in no nonsense and in no sense nonsense. We are here for their understanding of the unexplained. William Shatner, unexplained doesn't have a patch on it. Listen, all I'm saying is, right, it's really Beverly, Danny, Azria. They've got the facts for us all, right? Whether you choose to believe them or not. But that doesn't mean that we can't have some fun and look at some other things and make up our own mind about stuff. It doesn't take any truth away from anything. We're just a bunch of people hanging out on the internet and having some entertainment based off of Rosewell and Area 51. And some of these spicy characters that have been filmed, the suspicious vehicles, the suspicious speed of the vehicles, which you'll see. And I can't wait, because Guarding Secrets is part 2 coming tomorrow. And I can't wait. So thank you so much for being here, for being awesome, for supporting me, for watching my shows. Please like, please subscribe, please push it out. I'll see you back here tomorrow, 1 o'clock or 1:15. That's my 15 minutes of leeway for the daily disclosure. And then we're back at 3:30 with Guarding Secrets. Now, I'm hoping within the next week or two that I'll be starting a morning show about 10 a.m. Okay. And I don't know yet. I've not quite got it down yet. I wanna do some more. Anyway, more on that later. Listen, see you all tomorrow, you lovely people. Thank you all. Like, share, do all those things. And keep in mind as well, Friday is the big conclusion show where we'll look at the bits that we've seen. We'll go, no, we've decided, we've thought about it for a couple of days. Nonsense, real nonsense. We'll paste it all together and we'll give our conclusion. Ron, DM me later. I will. If I've not done that within the next couple hours, Mac, when you get off work, just call me on Discord, brother. Shalom, Joseph. Shalom. I appreciate you for being here. Thank you very much. The intro music. Yes. Okay. Right. So the intro music is called. Let me just look this up. Also, as well, if you've watched this live back and all of the bits that have the footage in them are gone and the live stream is condensed down to about 40 minutes, all the links are down below. And apologies if you didn't catch it live and you didn't get to see all the video clips and you've got to go and watch it all back yourself and it's not the same experience. Blame YouTube. All right. Blame them. All right. Hang on. All right. Which one is it again? No. How does it go? Hang on a second. I'm alive. No. All right. All right. Na 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 na. This one? No. No. All right. Hang on. There's got to be a better way of doing this. I can't remember what it's called. Oh man. Right, it's got to be in here. Like, it can only be one of a few songs. So now we're stuck with this. So there's 700 of you across all platforms that are just going to have to deal with this. Oh man, now we've got something going on in my eye. You're not that stupid, man. Come on, you'll figure this out. All Waste Another Lie. That's what it's called. That's what it's called. It's called Waste Another Lie. And I've got shit in my eye. Right? Right? Oh, God. In fact, do you know how confident I am? Hang on. Do you know how confident I am? Oh, my God, my eye. Oh, before the ADHD deletes the name of this song. Yes, baby. All right.
I thought I wanted to save us, but I was stuck in the past. Messed me up, I wanted to hurt.
Whoa.
Just give me something that lasts. I think you know what I'm made of, yeah. So where am I?
You know what? I'm even going to treat you to the whole song being played as the outro. How do you think about that? What do you think about that? Enjoy. I am a podcast producer, bro. Like, I'm trying, but yeah, I could probably use one. I'm not gonna lie. I'm good at coming up with the shows. I could use a couple of people. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm a one-man machine, baby. I'll put it back to the start. Oh, that's not what you want to see. This is what you want to see. Okay, we got this. ADHD.
I thought I wanted to save us, but I was stuck in the past. Messed me up, I wanted to hurt. Just give me something that lasts. I think you know what I'm made of, yeah. So where am I in this maze? Paint a picture in vivid color. Can't tell the black from the grays. To slow things down and clear my mind. It's like leaving a toxic friend behind.
Come on, you know the words now.
You say yes, and you don't make waves. I don't need to say that you know that I'll try. I don't want to hide or waste another life. Say no, and I will let go. I don't need to say that you know that I'll try. I don't want to hide or waste another life. Left in the pool of my own mess. When I said I'm gonna change, you made me pick up the broken glass. Don't want it to be in vain, no. But to slow things down and clear my mind, it's like leaving a toxic friend behind. You say yes, and you don't make waves. I don't need to say you know that I'll try. And I don't want to hide or waste another life. Say no, and I will let go. I don't need to say you know that I'll try. And I don't want to.
All right, this has just been a little special outro just for all you loyal viewers. So listen, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for being here. And I'll see you all tomorrow. You're all legends. Let's go.
Would you believe if I told you that I don't want to go back? I'm just afraid that I'll lose you. I don't want to hide or waste another life. You say yes, and you don't make waves. I don't need to say that you know that I'll try. I don't want to hide or waste another life. Say no, and I will let go. I don't need to say that you know that I'll try. I don't want to hide or waste another life.
All right, people. See you tomorrow. Much love.